Brandon Benefield, Gerard Bonner, and Diana Michelle.
What's going on, everybody? It's that time of the week. It's Friday. You know what that means. It's time for your favorite podcast, the SHW podcast. This is our wrestling episode 199, one away from the big 200. I'm B-Double Brandon Benefield alongside the great GB Gerard Bonner and the beautiful Diana Michelle. And should I say the award-winning, the five-time award-winning V3 is back coming to you for your favorite podcast. What's up, guys? How are we?
I'm good. It's been a week. It's been a week. I'm tired. I ain't gonna lie. Look at you polishing little Goldie over there, little Goodman.
I'm sorry. Don't mind me.
The little goodie. Little Goodman.
The Goodman.
The Goodman. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I think that's what they were calling it when they first came out with the trophy part. It was the Goodmans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I like that.
yeah, we got five little goodies. Little goodies.
Yeah.
Been a good week. Was a little under the weather at the beginning of the week. I was out of work for 2 days, but I still feel like I put in a whole full week already, and I'm tired.
As long as you're ready for SHW 70,
I'm
that's all that
so
matters.
ready. It's been too long since we've been together. It's been too long since we had a show, and I'm so ready. So ready.
Yeah, it's been a good week. A lot of things have been going on this week. A lot. But certainly still riding high from the weekend with the award show. There's been a lot of wrestling in Atlanta this week, next week, and it'll of course be capped off by SHW 70 next Friday in the Action Building. Hope you guys are there. But there's a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I just real quick at the top of the show give a big shout out to Diana Michelle, who did a stellar job as one of the hosts of the third annual live Georgia Wrestling Awards. Of course, they've been going on for 20 years at this point, but the third live version, as we had the big events, and you hosted alongside Carly Bravo. And
I did not have to do much. I'm gonna tell you, give a mic to Carly
and the highly outlandish Zicky
highly keyword there.
It was quite a night. And you guys did a great job of keeping everything on track. Big shout out to
Carly. Let me just say it. Thank you, Carly, because wow.
Big shout out to Bad News and Tattoos. He really did a good job steering the ship. Now, if you guys hadn't heard, there was a venue change at the last second, and that had all the set up to be something really chaotic, but it ended up turning out just fine. It was a packed house. We were at the home of PCW down there in Conyers, Georgia, and it was a great time. Thank them for hosting the show, and man, and thanks to Naja for all the hard work he puts into it. And and congratulations!
Oh my God,
his
crew is incredible. Let me just say that his crew is incredible. They handle it like it's nothing, like it's easy. It can't be, because when you have a room full the size we had with all the wrestlers in Georgia like that, chaos is bound to happen. You know that. But they handled everything flawlessly, and it was great. I mean, if there was any flaws, nobody knew. So to me, that's a win.
Yeah, absolutely. But a big shout out to Naja. Not only did he help put the whole thing together, but he also ended up coming away with Technical Wrestler of the Year again, and Overall Wrestler of the Year. So big night for Naja. And man, just what a great time. It's always fun to get together with the entire Georgia wrestling community like that. So good time was had by all, I believe, in our opinion.
One of the things that struck me about this year, and I really want to publicly say this, the award show had a completely different feel this year. And, I was trying to figure out, what I could pinpoint to why it felt different. But I think there was this unique camaraderie that happened at this year's award show, which, we've been telling you guys, you should come, et cetera, et cetera. If you are a fan and you missed this, you missed some incredible moments, which really would show how special Georgia wrestling is. I think we left Sunday night with a newfound respect and love for pro wrestling in the state of Georgia.
Yeah.
So I know this is the Southern Honor podcast, and we do our best to just do Southern Honor stuff. But I mean, we all know that there is more wrestling in the state of Georgia than Southern Honor. I mean,
Yeah.
we'd be playing silly if we didn't know that, right? But I think what's beautiful is oftentimes because we're all so focused on what we're building, we don't get a chance to connect with the larger Georgia wrestling community. And I guess I can say this. Sometimes, there are these occasional battles that rise up between this promotion and that promotion, et cetera, et cetera. But on a night like Sunday night, literally we were all Georgia wrestling.
Right.
And that's hard to do in a competitive space like awards, where people want to win and people want to be recognized for their hard work. But it was a night where you really felt the unity of Georgia wrestling, and that is a great thing. And so kudos to the team and kudos to everybody who came with that in mind, because they may not have walked in the door saying, "Hey, we're united," but by the time they left, it was very, very clear we're a united front, and that was really special to me.
Absolutely. I think in the past, um, like you said, you could feel a little bit of, oh, this is that group or this is that group. But like you said, it didn't feel that way. And we were in the middle of everything, which was
We
awesome.
were.
We had
Yeah.
great seats for the whole thing.
Yeah.
And to feel the energy of Georgia wrestling and everything that it's accomplished this year, and all the goods and all the news and all the olds and everything coming together, just from the emotional speeches
Yeah.
and just the brotherhood and sisterhood and just the family of it all was freaking amazing to me. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade that for anything.
Yeah.
It was just, let's do it again. Can we do it again next year and make it even bigger and better? I'm sorry for the squeaky door.
I thought I had a ghost in my house. I wasn't sure what it was.
Listen. I didn't know if it was October or almost February. What in the world?
I have to go buy some WD-40. I'm so sorry.
That
You
is
impressed
great.
that I know what that is?
That's great. Yeah. Well, hey, I'm not surprised that you would know what that is.
Of course not.
Yeah, you're resourceful. So, I get it.
But
I
yeah,
get
but
it.
that was my take on the whole deal. I loved it, and I personally wish there was a way that we could all get together more than once a year so we can actually just hang, because who has time to really get to know each other and really, spend time and it's like a family reunion, and we get to, talk about things other than just on Facebook or Messenger. And, it's there's so much going on that we miss because we are everywhere and everybody else is everywhere. And it's hard to keep up when you come together and you can just, that whole bond is tight. And Georgia wrestling's special. I mean, I'm not a part of any other state, but Georgia wrestling is special, and it's special to me. I know it's special to you guys, and I mean that was just an amazing night altogether.
I mean, you hear it said from a lot of the wrestlers in Georgia that do venture out and wrestle in other places. They'll tell you firsthand, there's nothing like Georgia wrestling. There's something special about Georgia wrestling, and especially a big award show like that. I mean, a lot of states have their own little independent wrestling awards and whatnot, but I'd venture to guess there's not many that do something like what we do and have the big award show and gala like that. So very cool. And while it is cool to see everybody kind of come together and be united, it is kind of an interesting space where some people leave their feuds at the door and it just don't deal with it for the night. Like for instance, chainmail. Nobody can stand chainmail. But Chainmail's band was there, and Chainmail was on drums, and
Chain in the Mails, or
Chain in the Mails, whatever Carly called them. He gave us a name, and then Carly came up with a different name, or Zicky came up with a different name.
Chainmail in the Band, or something like that is what it was. And it was.
Carly had a good point. He said, when you're playing, when you're in the middle of playing, you're in the middle of the song, you're really cool.
Yeah.
When you stop playing, though, you go right back to being chainmail that nobody can stand.
When you start talking.
So shout out to Chain and the Mails, or whatever their official band name was.
They're really good, y'all.
They are really good. Big shout out also to DJ Turnup, who was on the ones and twos. You're familiar with him for the pre-shows at Southern Honor Wrestling, of course. And he was crushing it down there.
And WHW, didn't he do the music for WHW, like the podcast, Tony Schiavone?
Oh, he does some of the stuff. He submits some of his theme songs and stuff, which
Nice.
yeah, to our pal Tony.
In case you guys didn't know, he's kind of hooked up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
So he crushed it. The thing is, like we try to leave our feuds at the door. I mean, it does make me nauseous to say that the guys from Exotic Youth had a big night, winning some awards.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's
They
hard for me to get through that, but they had a big night. Murder One had a huge night as well from the hierarchy. Of course, throw up the 2-finger salutes for the hierarchy, and big night for Murder One specifically. But speaking of leaving feuds at the door, a couple of guys.
Wait.
Oh, go ahead.
Come on.
Wait.
Come on.
Murder One wins for Mentor of the Year.
Mentor.
Yes.
And grabs the Legends Award as well. And I think it's important that fans understand how well respected Murder One is. You know, the voting for this came from wrestlers and, you know, wrestling personalities and the like throughout the state. And so for so many people to have this level of respect for Murder One is very, very significant, you know? And so when you get to see Murder One at Southern Honor, please understand you are literally in the presence of a legend. And the Legends Award specifically was awarded from the Georgia Wrestling History Committee. So nobody voted on that. They decided that that should be bestowed upon him. And so, again, a huge night for him. I want to make sure we shout him out so people understand that when you see him and he's throwing the twos up, there's a lot of people across the state and around the country who are doing that. Some of your favorite wrestlers that you see on television were brought to the big dance by Murder One. So shout out to him. We honor and respect you and congratulate you on your multiple awards there this past Sunday night.
Yeah, and a lot of history there too. Those two go up. A lot of history there. And as GB mentioned, I mean, he's brought in and mentored and trained many, including a lot of your favorites over the years. So and currently as well.
Yes.
So, but I mentioned, you know, most people leaving their feuds at the door going into the awards show. On the flip side, there were a few that did not leave the feud at the door. And I was talking about Murder One winning all those awards. Well, of course, the hierarchy was in tow along with Murder One. And that includes our Southern Honor champion, Joe Black, the Dread Wolf, if you will, and the man who won the Male Performer of the Year, Alexander Lev, the #1 contender to that title, was also in the building. Of course, he won Male Performer of the Year, as I just mentioned. And you talk about us having that center front table, having the front row seat to all the whole show. And it went down literally right next to us, right in front of us, where the hierarchy, and I don't know what Lev was thinking, with all of the hierarchy members standing there, Lev approaching them and talking a little trash. I think, you know, there was a little shoving match that ensued, and it was just like, oh, man, we're about to see the main event of SHW 70 happening right in front of us at the award show. So,
well, you talk about running into a brick wall, but what about when a brick wall runs into you? That's really what it looked like to me. When Joe shoved Lev, I was like,
you know,
move.
Not quite sure what the thought process there was for Lev to even think about going up there and approaching all the members of the hierarchy like that. But I mean, it was a little intense. I don't know what you guys were thinking, but I mean, it was right there on top of
I was thinking I was going to get out of the way.
Yeah.
And watch. You know, somebody call commentary. We're about to have it on.
GB, I was about to say, if we grab our headsets real quick and let's get it on right now. Let's do it.
On.
Yeah, they weren't trying to wait at all, which again, it just goes to show that tempers flare no matter where you are. And of course, that the SHW title match will be next week. And again, you know, you mentioned Alexander Lev, literally going from Rookie of the Year to Male Performer of the Year. I mean, that is massive.
It is. And we said that when he called that winner, I looked at you and I was like, from Rookie to Male Performer in a year, that's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah. You know, there are, and we know this, there are people who win an award one year and won't even end up on the ballot the next year. We literally saw that this year. For Alexander Lev to go from Rookie of the Year to male performer of the year. That kind of trajectory is kind of unheard of right now, you know, in such a short period of time. And again, the moxie that he had to stand up to Joe Black and the hierarchy with no backup. There were none of his faithful, his followers, his family, none of that. It says a lot. And it does make me wonder. Again, I know I spent some time talking about it last week, but the idea that Alexander Lev was bold enough to do what he did, he either knows something we don't know or he has a death wish. I don't know which it is, because I wouldn't step to Joe Black any time ever in life, let alone when Joe Black has backup. So yeah, but congratulations to Alexander Lev. I mean, again, this guy is something very, very special, and again showcases all of the not even hidden gems anymore, all of the stars that are being created in Georgia wrestling, and of course he'll be part of the big main event a week from tonight, which should be incredible. Alexander Lev. Now we can call him not just the Rookie of the Year, but the Male Performer of the Year, an award that was previously won by Hollywood Hunter James.
Don't we know it, because he made us sure we all knew it.
Made sure. So a huge night. Congratulations again to Alexander Lev.
Yeah, and you mentioned Hollywood Hunter James there. I was going to say, up and down the Southern Honor roster, I mean, there was a lot of representation all across the nominations for the Georgia Wrestling Awards this year. And so congrats to everybody that was nominated, whether it was Hunter James, Kyle Matthews, and whether you like these guys or not. You saw Nick Halen, you saw Todd Sexton, you saw a bunch of the roster that were on the within the categories that were nominated for the awards. But man, I just can't get over. I mean, I've been kind of buzzing all week about just how exciting, how fun that night was. And like I said, you go into it and you know there's a last minute venue change and you're kind of like, oh no, is this has all the makings of a train wreck waiting to happen. And then, you know, Diana and Carly and Zicky took the reins and just made it a really fun show. So appreciate everybody that put in the nominations for all three of us, and of course to all the folks that voted as well. We really appreciate you guys, and to all the fans that did come down and party with us. It was great to see you guys, and all the more reason for the next one for you guys. All the invite's open to everybody. Come join us. You gotta experience this for yourself, because it's so much fun. Because not only are all the wrestlers and all of us dressed to the nines, and we're partying and, you know, dancing and having a good time. Well, some of us, but the fans do it too. The fans that do show up, they get dressed up and have a good time and get to dance and hang out with some of their favorite wrestlers. So,
it's quickly becoming one of my favorite nights of the year. Absolutely.
It is.
I'm looking forward to next year. I'm looking forward what this year holds and what's going to become of the awards next year. It's going to be fun.
And GB, I know we were talking off air before we started here, but some of the other big standout moments.
Oh, some incredible moments.
Come on.
We've got to first congratulate a Southern Honor alumnus, former tag team champion, Hold My Beer Hansen, who, you know, if you've been following his trek at Southern Honor, you remember back in 2020, his campaign to get
started right here on this podcast.
It did. His campaign to get into the Rumble Jack and to get into Southern Honor. It led to him, ironically, that year becoming Male Performer of the Year.
Right.
Interesting lineage that we have with the Male Performer of the Year award. He has since started his own promotion in South Georgia, and he won for Promoter of the Year. And you want to talk about a moment. There were moments at this, but that moment was incredibly special. I was watching as they were announcing the nominees, and I'm looking at him. He's like in direct eye shot, and he is bent over in tears just at the thought of the nomination, to be nominated with so many great promoters. But when he won, the room erupted. He was so overcome with emotion. And to hear him really express himself But then to turn around and see so many wrestlers come and literally support him and encourage him, it was so powerful. And then at the end, like they swarmed him and they hugged him. And I mean, he was so overcome. He went to stand up and he could hardly stand. And they were literally there supporting him. And to me, that moment was such a massive picture of the camaraderie that is Georgia wrestling, that we can support your wrestling journey and then we can support your entrepreneurial journey and we love you just the same. And so it was so powerful. Like I will never forget that moment because it showed that, in a world that's often divided by whatever we're divided by, we're united by passion.
Yeah.
We're united by love for this business. And the moxie that it takes to step out and start your own promotion, that takes a lot of effort, a lot of work. And so it was an incredible, oh man, what a moment. Literally brings chills as I think about it.
Yeah.
Because it spoke so much to the spirit of who we are as a wrestling family. And so again, shout out to Hold My Beer Hansen, from all of your friends here at Southern Honor. We love you and we support what you are doing.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, I think the more wrestling promotions, the more opportunity it is for people to eat. And I think that's always a win. And speaking of eating, what happens at this award show is you get to see legends, you get to see people who are making moves, and then you get to see these new faces who you may have never seen before. And there's a new face many of us were introduced to. His name is J. Alpha Miller. Yes, it's the first time his name has been mentioned in Southern Honor. He had a face-to-face moment with Carly Bravo where it almost looked like Carly Bravo was looking in a mirror. And we all went, what's happening here? He went on to win Rookie of the Year, had an incredible acceptance speech, and he kind of walked away that night with everybody knowing his name. So I'm saying his name now. Everybody wants to sign the match between him and Carly Bravo. Jake the Snake and everybody else in
Right.
charge, we're giving you heads up. It only makes sense that the Rookie of the Year battles one of the hosts of the year, and the match is called by the commentators of the year in the 3-time promotion of the year. See, it all kind of makes sense. So figure it out whenever you guys feel like doing it. But yeah, I think the match should totally happen. What a name, what a personality, J. Alpha Miller. I'm impressed. I'm very impressed with what I saw. And that's, again, one of the cool things about being at these Georgia History Awards. You don't know what's going to happen. You just know everybody's in the room, energy's going to pop off, and something great is going down. So shout out to him.
They're already starting to smack talk on Facebook with that. He and Carly are already going at it with each other, and I am here for it.
Yeah, and if it happens at SHW, of course we're here for it, man. We can't wait to see that match wherever it takes place, but hopefully in the Action Building. And by the way, GB, before you started to talk about that, you said, speaking of eating, I got nervous there for a second because I thought you were going to tell everybody how much of the mac and cheese I ate at the award show. And I was like, whoa.
No.
Let me call me out, man.
Safe. Your secret is safe with me. Hey, look, I'm just happy that you're okay after the award show. Last year,
well, I walked him to his car.
Yeah.
Yes. We made sure this time, because last year we just kind of all parted ways, and we know how that went. But this year, thankfully, you're here, you're safe,
whole.
So you're whole, right? no crutches or anything like that.
No
so
leg brace.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So
it's crazy to think that was a full year ago, because 2024 was just a whirlwind of great shows at SHW, And to think that one full year ago was when the incident, as we call it, took place. And but thank gosh that's all behind us. And man, what a night it was. And can't wait to finally get back to our shows. Our January show, we talked about it last week, got postponed due to the snow and ice a couple of weeks back. And so we are excited to finally have SHW 70 and kick off our year.
I got one more thing, guys.
Oh.
Got one more thing. Because you thought you were going to get away. I can't let you get away because the people weren't there to hear how you feel about being 5-time award winners.
Right.
So we got to talk about that. Because the people need to hear from you, your feelings about, and I'll start with you, Diana, 5 years in a row, ring announcer of the year. When it was announced, how did you feel? What are your thoughts? You've had almost a week to sit with that. What are you thinking?
Well, to go from the category almost being removed from the ballot altogether to now,
correct,
we're having all these great announcers nominated for the award, and it's like a relevancy has been brought back to that category, and with commentator. Honestly, I'm just humbled to be able to lead that. I feel like I'm leading that, and just kind of, I didn't really get to say things that I probably should have said or wanted to say because it was such a fun night, and I was just really enjoying the moment altogether. But I did tell Larry one time that I wanted to win that award more than anybody has ever won it, but I don't. I really don't. I want to leave everything better. And I'm going to get emotional, but I am humbled. I'm appreciative. I love this business. I love doing what I do, and I hate crying on camera. So I'm sorry.
You get going. I'm going to get going. Easy now.
No apology needed.
But I do get emotional about it because I do love it so much, and I just, let's do it again. I mean, I'm willing. I want to help whoever's up and coming. I don't want to be the one that's winning this all the time, but I do want to be the one that's winning all the time because I want to be the best.
Right.
But I also want to help bring up others and let them shine and maybe cast a light on them at the same time. Don't think I'm backing down because I'm not. I'm going to be better this year than I was last year and the year before that and the year before that. And if you're going to take this from me next year, you're going to have to do it running. Going to have to come at me hard because I'm not backing down. And I know you guys feel the same way. I mean, this is something I love and I'm passionate about. And I just, to be the 5-time winner, I have no words for that. It's just, it's validating and it's special. So,
well, you definitely deserve it. You've earned it.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody better. So
absolutely.
And to have Carly and Zicky present that was pretty freaking awesome too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love those guys. Oh my God. That's a whole party in a can right there.
It is. Literally. And I'll say this to you, to do that as a woman in an often male dominated space is equally special. And you have done it with great poise. You have done it with great ability. You have silenced any critics that may be out there, and you've shown them that you are the measuring stick in this state. And so I love to see it. I'm excited about it. And, if the powers that be, because what people don't understand also is you never know who's paying attention. You never know who's watching. I won't let the cat out of the bag, but there were some interesting people in that room from some spaces you did not expect. And, people are always looking for who's got next and things like that. So, all the powers that be that are looking for a ring announcer on a national stage. Yeah, I'm putting it out there. There's your leading candidate right there, Diana Michelle.
If I don't win it next year, I want to be because I'm not here to win it.
Facts.
There you go.
That's the only reason why I don't want to win this year. I don't want to be here to win it. Otherwise,
yeah, it's yours. Yeah. I love it. I love it. Brandon, now how are you feeling? You know, you have the unique distinction. I don't know if this has ever happened of one commentator being nominated twice in the same category, which is incredible. But yeah, man, how did it feel when you heard your name and what are your thoughts, man, about doing this 5 years in a row?
I said it before, I'll say it again. Like the whole two nomination thing, it's very weird, very surreal, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Still not quite sure how that even happened, but very appreciative of everybody that sent in nominations for that. One thing we talked about, after the show had wrapped up the other night was, when we're up there, it's kind of a whirlwind, and there's like several things you think about, you want to say or you want to thank or you want to mention or whatever, and then you just get caught up, and then you sit back down and go, I meant to say this or I meant to say
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
so luckily we do have this platform here to be able to kind of go back and do
Yes.
that. I'll answer your question here in a second, GB, but before I do that, I do want to say a couple things that I didn't get to say or I forgot to say the other night. One is that thank you so much, first of all, for the opportunity that SHW has provided us, and that goes to Dylan and Gary, and of course, well, Jake the Snake too, for keeping us around since he's kind of
Yeah.
running things now too. But
Yeah.
so the fact that they give us the opportunity to call the matches and tell the stories at Southern Honor Wrestling for the last 5 years or 6 years, and it's just been a true blessing, and can't be more thankful to them. I also do want to give a special tip of the cap also to for the last 3 shows of the year. I think it was 3 shows. We had our pal Sal
Yeah.
joining us in the commentary booth as well. So a tip of the cap to him for joining us for the last leg of the year in 2024. One thing that we've said it in the past, and I'll say it again. And I wanted to say it the other night, but just got caught up in the moment. But we don't do this for recognition. We don't do this, because we're trying to get ourselves out there and get ourselves over. We're telling the stories for the people that were in the room that night, all of the wrestlers, the people that are in the ring performing for all of the fans. Our job is to put them over and get them over and tell their story. And so we're not really looking for the accolades or any kind of an award or anything like that. Now, the fact that this became a category and people keep voting for us and nominating us for this award is really appreciated. And so don't take it the wrong way when I say that. We appreciate it and we're thankful. And but just know that that's not like why we're doing this. It just happens to be one of the things that comes along with it. So it's just kind of a cool little perk, a cool little bonus that we get. And so yeah, I just want to say thank you to everybody for that. And the original question was, how am I feeling after the show? It feels good, right? Like it feels good. I feel like we know, and Diana kind of touched on this earlier, as far as like, we're just each year we're going and going and going. It's not like we're going to get comfortable and just lay back and just coast along, right? I've said this to Gerard since the very first match of the very first show that we called together, which was, that felt pretty good, yeah? And then the rest of the show, that felt pretty good. And then by the end of the show, I thought that felt pretty good. And I feel like ever since that night in 2019, December of 2019, ever since then, I feel like, and maybe I'm a little biased, but I also do believe this wholeheartedly, and I don't mean to sound arrogant or cocky or anything like that. I just believe this to be the truth. I believe that we have gotten better, and that's for all three of us.
Yeah.
Every single show, we've gotten better and better and better and better. And throughout 2025, I have no plans of slowing down. I plan for that to be the same, to get better and better and better and better. And so, so I like that mentality that you mentioned, Diana, of like, we're not just getting comfortable. Oh, 5. Yeah, we're good with 5. Booker T was a 5-time. No, we're
But Ric Flair was 16.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we have no plans of slowing down.
Right.
If anything, we're just going to keep doing bigger and better things and keep doing what we do and improving every time. And I know Southern Honor does an amazing job of giving us the stories to tell. They lay out the blueprint, and then we get to add our lyrics to the songs. And so anyways, I look forward. 2024 was an amazing year, and I look forward to 2025 being even bigger and better. So, with that said, GB, how
Yeah.
do you feel after
Well, let me go get
last
my
Sunday?
popcorn or my pizza. Hold on.
Hilarious. Hilarious. Oh my gosh. I will say I was nervous. I was nervous Sunday night. Just because I knew, Brandon was in multiple categories and I didn't know, and
One
I knew
category.
this too. Uh,
One category.
one cat. Brandon was mentioned
Nominated
multiple
twice.
times in the
Oh,
same
yeah.
category. Thank you for correcting me on that.
I
But I
didn't want people
also
to think I
knew.
was male performer of the year or something. I just
Oh well,
make sure
I mean,
it's clear.
Well,
you could have did for comeback of the year or most
yeah,
improved, right? There were so many commentary teams who really have done a great job this year
Yes.
telling the stories in their promotion. So I wasn't sure how that was going to go. When it happened, it was a really good feeling. Admittedly, it was. I I love the chemistry that Brandon and I have. And I think it alludes to something that I said that night, which is just you need a group of people who you can do the journey with. And I
yeah,
think what has been awesome is for the three of us, we don't just talk the day of the show. We've said this on this podcast before. We talk literally daily about
yeah,
any and everything. And when you've created chemistry and camaraderie, that shows. You can't, my good friend Caprice Coleman says you can't buy chemistry
right.
because you can't. You either have it or
Well,
you
you don't.
don't.
Yeah.
And we had it from the first time we sat down in December of 2019. And I applaud all of us for doing the work. Shout out to the Nightmare Factory, doing the work to come prepared.
Yeah,
Like we don't just wake up one morning and go, it's show day. Ooh, what are we gonna do? There's a lot of preparation that goes into making sure that we can tell these stories, tell them accurately, um, add the color and flair that's needed, so that it's not golf, so that it's
right,
wrestling, right?
right,
You know what I mean?
right.
Because it's one thing to call match or call moves and things like that. It's another thing to tell a story, and to add to the story that's being told in the ring, all without putting too much attention on ourselves,
Right.
because the show is not about us, right? We are the background to what is being painted, and if what we do helps you see them better, then that's the real win of all of this. So it's an honor to do what we do. Thank you again, as you mentioned, Brandon, to Gary and to Dylan and to everyone at Southern Honor who gives us the opportunity to tell the stories on a regular basis. That means the world. And so I'm grateful that for all of us, it's given us opportunities to apply our crafts in other places,
Yes.
which is a fantastic space. And, I'm looking forward to this year being a massive year for all of us. So to the fans, thank you guys for loving on us and going back and watching the product on IWTV, and for paying attention to this podcast and all of the ways that you do. That means the world. And I'm looking forward to telling more stories this year in a lot of ways and a lot of places. And we will only get better. We will never get worse, because
No.
that's not the makeup of who we are. Who
Mhm.
we are people. We love this business. We love what we do. We always want to get better. And to Diana's point, uh, if you don't see us, it's because we're not here. But if we're here, then we're here.
Right.
There it is.
Right.
Well,
And just to echo all of that, plus the level of professionalism that I think we all three carry
Yeah.
from what we wear
Mhm.
during the job to how we present ourselves, and our everything that
Yeah.
we do is I feel is top level professionalism, and
Yes.
I appreciate that from you guys, and
Thank you.
I hope that I give that back to you guys as well.
Absolutely.
But I think that really is one thing that can just set someone apart, and actually make a show feel bigger
Yeah.
than than it could possibly be, feel. I mean, you've got the look, you've got the attitude, you've got the way you do things. It's just all it's a huge component in how a show is ran and produced, I guess you would say. And I'm glad that we bring that to the table every time we step out there, and I appreciate that. So
absolutely. And I cannot wait to see you guys next Friday, SHW 70. We're finally going to kick off the 2025 year for Southern Honor Wrestling. I cannot wait. We hope you guys will join us. It's 261 Merida Road, Canton, Georgia, February 7th, 1 week from today. Tickets go on sale 5 p.m. at the door. Doors open at 7, bell time at 8. And before we get there, we did hear a couple more match announcements that we heard earlier this week. There's a huge tag team match, top team coming into the house. That's going to be Jay Lucas and Teriyaki taking on the Skulk, Adrian Alanis and Liam Gray. So that's going to be an amazing tag team match. Now, what's interesting about this one is that the Skulk were going to get that title opportunity against the Infantry in January because they were answering the Infantry's open challenge. However, the Infantry, busy with their AEW ROH schedule, unable to be there next Friday. Top team is stepping up. Now, Jay Lucas is already embroiled in this feud with Owen Knight and Grayson Pierce. Of course, those two will have a singles match. If I'm Jay Lucas, though, you got to stay focused on your tag team match at hand, because I'm thinking if the top team can knock off the Skulk, wouldn't you think top team might be next in line for that tag title opportunity? I don't know.
Think so. Yeah.
I'm just saying, but I know I'm just excited to see top team back in the house. Teriyaki's been around, but it's been a while since we've seen him at Southern Honor, so he's been doing big things all over the indie scene. Jay Lucas is the superstar. We know what he's capable of over the last few months. And the Skulk. Adrian Alanis, I think I might have touched on this when we were initially previewing the January show, and they were going to have that tag title match. Adrian Alanis was a part of at least the very first SHW show, maybe the first couple. I can't quite remember. I need some of the historians out there to help me out. But, I mean, it's been 6+ years ago at this point. But so anyways.
Before the formation of the new era and all that.
Yeah, I mean, very first show, the very first night. We had a big tournament for the SHW title. He was part of that tournament. And so it's just crazy how much has happened in 6 years to finally see him come back. So, but the Skulk, big opportunity here. If they can get some momentum and beat top team, then they'll get that tag opportunity. Who knows? Maybe the next show. So we'll see. Another big match that was announced earlier this week. I'm very excited to see the return of both of these guys, but specifically the MLW, the forever MLW world champion, Alex Kane, the suplex assassin. And of course, also the return of Joey Hyder, who's going to be making his singles debut. He impressed a lot of people back at Still Here 6 when he was part of that gauntlet with Lev's Faithful against Cody Fluffman. Very impressive that night, but I mean, he's going up against Alex Kane, so it's going to be a tough night at the office, I think, for Joey Hyder, but I'm excited for this matchup. If you recall at the last show back in December, the last show of 2024, Alex Kane had a very dominant singles debut, but it was what happened after that match that left everybody talking, and quite frankly, left everybody chomping at the bit to see more of. And I'm talking about the altercation that happened between Alex Kane and CT Keys. We do know that CT will be in the building because Todd Sexton has a singles match, and he'll be in Todd Sexton's corner when Todd takes on AA Ron Dallas. So
CT doesn't have a singles match. I'm telling you, the foundations are already rumbling.
Well, just the fact that both men, I'm talking Alex Kane and CT Keys, in the same building.
Yes. That's my point. You're talking about CT's going to be fresh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh,
so, and that's on top of the already stacked card that we told you about last week. Of course, next week we'll be doing the live pre-show, which will act as well as episode 200 of the SHW podcast. And we'll go in more in depth over the whole match card. Yeah, how did that happen?
Unbelievable.
GB, let's do a little reminiscing, and we'll reminisce some more next week for sure. But if you go back to 2020, it was a year overall. It was one of those years that a lot of us just want to forget because it was pandemic year, right? And because of that, though, there were a few cool things that ended up coming from it.
Yes.
The fact that we started this podcast being one of them. And really, the major reason we started it was because all the shows got shut down, and we wanted a way to still be able to keep in touch with the fans and, bring some of the roster on to do interviews here and there. And it just became a thing.
Yeah.
And here we are, 5 years later, 200 episodes later, and it's been a wild ride. And Diana started out as what, a guest once or twice?
I was a guest.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember doing the first appearing, I was sitting on my porch because it was pandemic, talking about learning Spanish.
Yeah.
I will go on record and say I don't remember a flipping word that I learned that year.
Also, I feel like, if I'm not mistaken, weren't you on the porch and you had the camera propped up and it fell over?
Yeah, well,
at one
that
point?
was the second time.
Oh, the second. Oh, yeah.
We had Danny on. I think I was on. We had Danny on.
Yes.
I kicked my tripod over and it just went flying in the yard.
Yeah,
I just remember
we
we
all
were
got
like,
very scared.
Diana, are you okay? What's
Right.
happening?
Man, I could have done so many things with that. I have been very careful, and my whole setup is different now. Thank you.
You've got the picture wall, which we
I
love.
have the wall.
Yeah.
I have so much on this wall, guys. So much on this wall.
Oh, yeah.
So cool.
Add into it. Yeah. I got one more coming with the
Well, there you
award-winning
Oh,
team.
yeah. But I tell you what, it's been a heck of a ride. 200 episodes. Well, next week will officially be 200. I will be providing some community cakes for the people. So be sure you come by and say hi. Of course, doors open next week at 7, and the show will be airing live from 7 to 7:30. Maybe we go a little bit longer. Who knows? It's the 200th episode, so we'll see. But feel free to come by and say hi, and maybe grab a community cake while you're there. So it'll be a great time, and you never know who might stop by. But I can't wait to see you guys next Friday, and of course, can't wait to see the fans as well. Before we get out of here, for episode 199, any final words before next week?
That's a 5-time award-winning crew right here.
You're not wrong.
I'm not wrong.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Hey, if you want to help celebrate our 200th episode, you can go get some merch. Head over to prowrestlingtees.com/SHW pod. We have 2 shirts there. One obviously represents specifically the podcast. You will be able to wear that on your shirt. And the other has a beautiful animated version of the 3 of us that you can check out. So both of those shirts are available right now. Go ahead and get them at prowrestlingtees.com/SHW pod. Make sure you do that.
We are.
Yeah, and then you can always check our workout, of course, on IWTV, where if you use the promo code SHW, you can get your first 5 days for free. Check out all that's happening with Southern Honor. Our entire catalog is there, so you'll be able to hear and see the latest shows, the older shows, the documentary, all of the things are there. Again, that's in the IWTV. IndependentWrestling.tv. There's a mobile app, all the things. Had to remember that. SHW is the promo code for your first 5 days for free.
Boom.
And if you're following us individually, what are you doing? Because there's so much going on. So many posts, so many reels, so many fun stuff. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
There's our little call signs.
Yeah. You see the handles right here.
Right there. Yeah.
Come see what's going on.
Absolutely. We cannot wait to see you next week. We kick off year 2025.
Finally.
And finally, yes. So we're very excited to get back in the action building and bring the show to our fans. And we can't wait to see you. And again, like I said, live pre-show 7 to 7:30. Tickets on sale at the doors at the action building starting at 5 o'clock. Doors open at 7. Bell time at 8. So until then, this has been
SHW.
This is our wrestling.